Zhang Yi has finally entered the billion-dollar safe house, but the impending danger is closing in on him step by step. Zhang Yi and Su Hao arrive at the Lark Manor riding snowmobiles, attracting the attention of neighbors in the community. At this time, a well-dressed, curvy beauty is staring intently at the two through her window. Her food supply ran out 3 days ago, and the carbon crystals she has for heat can only last a few more hours. To survive, she must find a way to make the two men outside listen to her and get food for her. At this moment, Zhang Yi and Su Hao have arrived in front of Wang Siming's residence. Zhang Yi raises his weapon and points it at Su Hao's head, threatening him to quickly open the door. Su Hao rushes to the security camera without hesitation, yelling, "Brother Wang, open the door, it's me." Wang Siming is currently sipping 1982 Lafite and watching the security monitor, thinking, weren't we supposed to meet tomorrow? Why are they here today? He scans the area, but doesn't see the snowmobile they talked about, suspecting that he might be getting tricked. Wang Siming hesitates whether to open the door. By this time, Zhang Yi is getting impatient, threatening Su Hao with the gun. "Damn it, if you dare trick me, believe it or not, I'll shoot you right now." Su Hao sweats profusely, pleading while saying, "Brother Zhang, don't shoot. Even if I had the guts, I wouldn't dare trick you." Then Su Hao speaks into the camera to Wang Siming, "We've worked hard for so long, we can't fail now. If we miss this village, there won't be another store." Convinced they won't double-cross him, Wang Siming decides that if they do, he will activate a mechanism to incinerate them, leaving not even ashes behind. He presses the button to open the villa's main door. Zhang Yi and Su Hao walk into the spacious villa, marveling at everything, exclaiming, "Damn, rich people really are different. They even have more ways to have fun." Su Hao points to a passage ahead and says, "Brother Zhang, let's go in. There's another door inside, and once it's open, we can enter the shelter." Zhang Yi lets Su Hao lead the way, following him closely. Wang Siming, watching through the surveillance, sees that Zhang Yi has entered the range of his trap and doesn't hesitate to activate it. Immediately, exhaust ports above the corridor open. Zhang Yi and Su Hao are shocked. Wang Siming is trying to catch them all in one net. A suffocating gas bursts out from the ventilation pipes. Su Hao quickly covers his nose and mouth, but Zhang Yi remains calm, as he already has a countermeasure in mind. Wang Siming activates the tear gas mechanism, and instantly a cloud of smoke engulfs Zhang Yi and Su Hao. The two are going all out in their act to deceive Wang Siming. Zhang Yi shouts, "Su Hao, you mongrel, open the door for me now." Su Hao retorts, "Stop struggling, Zhang Yi. You're a fool. Even if you kill me, you won't survive." Then 2 gunshots ring out in the smoke. Wang Siming excitedly watches the 2 figures in the smoke, thinking, "These 2 idiots who came to my door, do they actually think they can beat me? Let's see how I take care of them." Seizing the opportunity, Zhang Yi drew the smoke into his own alternate space. The voices of the 2 gradually fade in the smoke, and the passage door slowly opens. Zhang Yi calmly puts away his gas mask, thinking that as soon as Wang Siming walks in, he'll immediately shoot him. Footsteps approach, and Zhang Yi can hardly contain his excitement. Damn it, it's not Wang Siming. Who the hell is this? "Su Hao, you idiot. Why are there other people in the shelter?" Ignoring that for now, he continues to play dead until the person comes closer and lifts both of them onto his shoulders, heading toward the passage door. Only then does Zhang Yi realize that this person is Lin Gang from the entertainment industry, who is said to have a good relationship with Wang Siming. Lin Gang dumps the 2 in front of Wang Siming, who looks at the unconscious pair. Lin Gang ties their arms behind their backs, saying, "This guy is as stupid as a pig. He's no effort at all, and he even dared to target your shelter." Wang Siming responds nonchalantly, "Well, isn't this to be expected? If I can't even handle some pauper, then my billion-dollar shelter is a waste." The 2 begin to discuss how to get Zhang Yi's snowmobile, as they haven't stepped out of the shelter for more than half a month, and Wang Siming is starting to feel cooped up. At this point, Zhang Yi, lying on the ground, activates a different space and secretly releases hypnotic gas. As the 2 are talking excitedly, they start to sway. Wang Siming looks at Lin Gang and says, "If you're excited about going out, there's no need to stagger around like that." Lin Gang, in a daze, replies, "Brother Wang, I'm not swaying. Why have you multiplied into 6 people?" Then both of them collapse onto the ground. By this time, Zhang Yi has successfully untied the ropes. Looking at the 2 men on the ground, he thinks, "Taking you 2 down was effortless." He picks up Wang Siming's expensively crafted pure gold handgun and says to himself, "The toys rich people play with are really different, but it's all show and no go." Having dealt with Wang Siming and the others, Zhang Yi begins to explore the rooms, thinking, "Let's see what the wealthy play with." As soon as he enters a room, he's flabbergasted and thinks, "Oh my god, this level of luxury is unimaginable." He continues to walk in and finds another door leading to a room filled with green plants. "It's like a whole ecological chain here," he muses, a smug smile on his face. "From today on, this place is mine." Zhang Yi starts to inspect the rooms one by one. Each room has a different label: game room, pet room, entertainment room, you name it. He walks into a waterbed room filled with voluptuous women lying around, but unfortunately, they are all dead. Seems like things are not as peaceful here as I imagined, he thinks. He then proceeds to the basement, where a room designated for cats and dogs is set up. Wang Siming even cares for pets in this apocalyptic world. He opens the door and is stunned. I've underestimated this. It turns out these cats and dogs are actually Playboy bunnies and cat women. They are lying around, covered in unidentified fluids, and needles scattered all over the floor. One of the bunnies crawls toward him as if he's her savior, begging, "Master, we were wrong. Give me a little more. I'll do whatever you want. I'm your bunny." Zhang Yi kicks her away, thinking, this Wang Siming really knows how to play. But I, Zhang Yi, don't need this. He then shoots them all dead. Next, Zhang Yi moves to the control room, thinking that it might be the core of the entire shelter. Unfortunately, he's not a computer engineer. He sees that the basement also has sports facilities and thinks they could be used to test his abilities in the future. As he continues to patrol, he reaches a room where the system prompts, "Identity verification failed. Cannot pass through this area. Guess I'll need Master Wang's help after all," he thinks, before splashing water on the two men to wake them up. "Wake up, sweetheart," Zhang Yi says mockingly. At this point, Wang Siming looks at Zhang Yi in disbelief. "How did you do this?" Zhang Yi smiles slightly. "The rich rely on technology. We poor folks rely on mutations. How else would we survive in the apocalypse?" He points his weapon at Wang Siming. "All right, my lord, now is not the time for chit-chat. Let's get down to business." Zhang Yi leans down. "For example, how to let me live comfortably in this villa. That's the only way you'll save your life." Wang Siming, visibly tense, says to Zhang Yi, "I'll give you whatever you want. Just let me go." Zhang Yi replies casually, "Don't worry, I don't have a habit of killing. I just want to find a stable place to live. Your place is so big, one more person won't make a difference." Wang Siming looks at him skeptically. "You just want to move in? You don't want to kill me and take over?" Zhang Yi chuckles. "Killing you is pointless. Besides, I'm not a murderer, and this snow disaster won't last forever. Once things go back to normal, I'd like to be in your good graces." Upon hearing this, Wang Siming perks up. "So this bumpkin wants to be friends with me." In their eyes, society will get back to normal sooner or later. If I give these country bumpkins a little help, then rising to the top is only a matter of time. These bumpkins sure know how to plan, but I'm no pushover either. If you want to be friends, hurry up and untie me. My hands are numb. Zhang Yi smiles. "Untying you is simple, but you have to hand over control of this shelter's systems to me." Wang Siming hesitates. "If I give you control, can you promise not to kill us?" Zhang Yi reassures him again. "Don't worry, bro. I promise you'll live the high life cooperating with me." With no other options, Wang Siming gives up complete control of the shelter's operating systems. Zhang Yi grandly sweeps his hand over the control panel. "From now on, I'm the master here." Wang Siming, who is beside him, says, "Yes, you're the master now. Please untie me. My whole body is numb." Zhang Yi ominously stands up. "Just hold on a second, my lord. I'll relieve you shortly." He takes out a knife from behind him and slashes it across Wang Siming's neck in a flash. Blood spurts out, and Wang Siming looks at Zhang Yi in disbelief. "You promised not to kill me. You broke your word." Zhang Yi looks at him mockingly. "Relax. You might feel a bit dizzy at first, but the pain will be over soon." Wang Siming falls to the ground and stops breathing. Zhang Yi looks at him. "Sorry, I forgot to mention, I don't keep useless people around." While cleaning the blood off the floor, Zhang Yi ponders how to deal with Su Hao. Killing Wang Siming resolved one issue, but he's still undecided about Su Hao. After all, he did help him seize Wang Siming's residence. At this point, Su Hao groggily wakes up and sees Zhang Yi cleaning the bloodstains. He gets excited. "Bro Zhang, we did it, didn't we?" He gets up and sees Wang Siming's body on the floor, stepping on it while laughing. "I never thought this day would come for you, you damn dog. Not killing you myself was too merciful." Zhang Yi points to a backpack on the sofa. "Inside is your reward." Upon hearing there's a reward, Su Hao eagerly opens the bag, which is full of food. His eyes light up as he begins to feast. "Bro Zhang, you're really like my own brother. From now on, I'll follow you wherever you go. Your word is law." Zhang Yi sighs. This is all that's left in Wang Siming's shelter, and there's not much energy left to keep it running either. Su Hao immediately gets anxious. "What are you saying? This is all that's left in the shelter? Are you joking? I've been with you through thick and thin to get rid of Wang Siming, and you want to fob me off with this? You want to monopolize everything and kick me out? No way. I was the one who provided you with the intel on the shelter." Zhang Yi chuckles. "I have no reason to lie to you. Wang Siming squandered all the resources." Su Hao insists. "I don't know if you're lying or not, but you had everyone in the community spinning in circles. If you're planning to kill the donkey after it has done its job, I'll expose your superpowers. Someone will come for you." Zhang Yi's face turns cold. "Seems like I've been too lenient with you." He raises his hand and shoots Su Hao. "I gave you a chance, and you squandered it. What use are you to me now?" Su Hao falls to the ground, still not understanding why this is happening as he dies. Zhang Yi looks at the dead Su Hao. "Be a good person in your next life. If you don't have the power, don't make empty threats." He picks up his backpack. "I intended to let you live a little longer, but you seem keen on forgetting everything. I can only send you on your way." Sitting in the entertainment area, Zhang Yi fantasizes. "It would be great to survive here until the apocalypse is over. It would be even more interesting if I had brought Zhou Kir along. As for Uncle Yu, I have other plans for him." Zhang Yi opens a bottle of red wine and turns on the TV. To his surprise, an image of a foreign woman appears, and he switches through dozens of international channels. Given the storm, how did Wang Siming manage this? After some thought, he understands and finds a hidden door connected to some cables. Inside Inside, he finds an independent server. His eyes light up instantly. Judging by the strength of the signal, the system's transmission speed is global. With this high-end network infrastructure, I can now get accurate information from the outside world. He then sits down to browse through the information. In just 1 month, only a quarter of the 8.5 billion people in the world are left. Zhang Yi feels extremely grateful for having prepared supplies in advance. At this rate, it would be good if 5% of the population survives in the future. However, he suddenly sees numerous reports on mutated humans. Many countries have reported individuals with mutations, both good and bad. Some can conjure flames and summon bears, while others turn into green giants. Yet, only a few have obtained special abilities. Most have been physically deformed by gamma radiation. After reading all the information, Zhang Yi is convinced that there are others like him hiding their true strength. This means the outside world is incredibly dangerous. He becomes even more committed to staying in the shelter and plans to first go back to the safe house to get Joker. Zhang Yi steps out and starts his snowmobile. Just then, an enchanting voice rings out. "Could you please wait a moment?" Instantly drawing his gun, Zhang Yi aims at the newcomer. To his surprise, it's the red-hot actress Yang Mi, who has been setting the entertainment world on fire. She is a dream woman for many men and now stands in front of him, pleading to take her away. Looking at Yang Mi, Zhang Yi thinks the snowstorm has made life hard for everyone. "If you want me to take you, you need to give me a good reason," he says. Yang Mi, looking soft and tender, replies, "Take me with you. Give me something to eat, and I'll agree to any condition." She then puckers her lips and kisses Zhang Yi on the face. His face turns red, and his heart is won over by Yang Mi. Having one more woman to warm the bed in this apocalypse doesn't seem like a bad idea, he thinks, taking her to his new residence. Yang Mi notices how skilled Zhang Yi is as he enters Wang Siming's place. She pretends to be surprised and asks, "Isn't this Wang Siming's residence? What's your relationship with him?" Zhang Yi doesn't answer her question, but cautiously asks, "Do you know Wang Siming well?" He thinks, if she has any ties with Wang Siming, he will kill her on the spot to avoid future trouble. Yang Mi changes her tone. "I don't really know Wang Siming well. You know how it is in our circle. We meet at events and just nod and greet each other." Zhang Yi pours tea, thinking, smart move. "I'll let you off the hook for now." He hands the tea to Yang Mi. "In any case, this place is mine now. Don't ask questions you shouldn't be asking." Yang Mi gulps down the tea, savoring its warmth. "This is the first cup of hot water I've had in days." She then coyly asks Zhang Yi if she can use the bathroom for a hot shower. Zhang Yi naturally doesn't refuse. Yang Mi undresses and leaves her clothes in the living room, enjoying the long-missed hot shower. Her body instantly relaxes, and she begins to think of ways to make Zhang Yi serve under her. She figures that with her beauty, it won't be hard to win him over, and compared to some greasy, middle-aged men she knows, Zhang Yi is quite the catch. She thinks her good luck hasn't run out yet. Even if she has to be with Zhang Yi for a few months, she's willing. After her shower, Yang Mi walks out barefoot. She's made up her mind. She'll do whatever it takes to stay. She's very clear about what's going to happen next and mentally prepares herself, telling herself it's just a transaction. Once the snowstorm is over and everything returns to normal, she'll still be a top-tier celebrity, and nobody will know about this. She wraps herself in a towel and walks seductively up to Zhang Yi, coquettishly asking if she can stay. She promises to serve Zhang Yi well if he lets her stay. Seeing that Zhang Yi remains unmoved, she takes his hand and pleads, "Don't worry, I won't cause you any trouble. Once the snowstorm is over, I'll leave quietly." Zhang Yi shakes off her hand, realizing that she sees his place as a stepping stone and plans to leave once the snowstorm ends. He takes a sip of red wine and says sarcastically, leaving aside whether the snowstorm will even end, even if the ice age passes, "Do you think the world will go back to the way it was?" Yang Mi suddenly becomes anxious, asserting, "Of course things can go back to how they were." As she says this, it's as if she's reassuring herself. If the world can't return to its former state, wouldn't all her previous achievements be in vain? Zhang Yi isn't interested in arguing with her. "If you think things can go back to normal, then they will. But for now, if you're staying in my house, you'll follow my rules." Zhang Yi pulls Yang Mi close. She whispers, "I understand." Zhang Yi doesn't stand on ceremony anymore. Since she came to him, he has no reason to refuse. After the matter is done, Zhang Yi takes out a piece of clothing from a different dimension and throws it to Yang Mi. She stares at him, dumbfounded. What kind of superpower is this? You can summon objects out of thin air? Zhang Yi is about to turn away when Yang Mi grabs his arm. "Don't go, big brother E." He looks at her amused. "What? Not satisfied yet? I have some things to do. I'll deal with you later tonight." Yang Mi blushes and shouts, "You misunderstand. I have something important to discuss with you." Zhang Yi feels a bit hungry at this point. "Fine, let's go to the dining area and talk while we eat." Yang Mi obediently sits at the dining table. Zhang Yi instantly summons some food from another dimension and places it on the table. "Since we're going to be living together, let's set some ground rules," he says calmly. "My home is quite large. Adding one more woman won't make a difference. I have only one requirement. Obey me. You're smart. You should know what I mean." Yang Mi certainly understands what Zhang Yi is getting at. He's clearly setting up some unspoken rules, but she didn't become a top-tier celebrity by being naive. She straightens her back and says slowly, "I can agree to your terms, but I also have some principles that I hope you'll respect. Zhang Yi spreads his hands, amused. Alright, let's hear it. Yang Mi seriously says, whatever happens between us stays confined to this snowstorm period. If we part ways, you can't disclose what we've done. As a public figure, my reputation would be ruined if people found out. Zhang Yi, casually eating, understands her concerns and agrees readily to her terms. Summoning courage, Yang Mi states her second condition. You can't force me to do things I'm uncomfortable with, or make outrageous demands unless I agree. She blushes and awkwardly shifts her feet after saying this. Zhang Yi appears puzzled. You were the one who approached me, and now you're acting as if you're the victim here. He's not naive either and pulls her close. Don't act all innocent here, especially when you're an actress. Ever heard of quid pro quo? How did you become a top-tier celebrity with such poor acting skills? Yang Mi falls silent, unable to respond to Zhang Yi's rebuke. He picks her up and places her on the dining table, whispering in her ear, don't worry, I don't have any weird fetishes, but thanks for the reminder. Yang Mi has seen far more bizarre behavior in her industry. In comparison, Zhang Yi has been quite reasonable. They then spend the night discussing a script in great detail. Early the next morning, Zhang Yi prepares to head out. He suddenly remembers that his friend Uncle Yu is still single and asks Yang Mi, most of the people living here are rich women and celebrities, right? She nods. Yes, you have to be wealthy or high status to live here. Zhang Yi smiles. I have a friend who's a good person but got cheated by a scheming woman recently. He could use some female companionship to heal his wounded heart. Could you maybe help find someone suitable in your circle? Upon hearing this, Yang Mi looks taken aback. What are you treating me as? She quickly thinks, realizing that the only women left in the wealthy neighborhood are slightly older. Zhang Yi recalls that Uncle Yu has a preference for mature women, so Yang Mi eagerly says, that makes things easy. She promptly contacts the famous Zhou Haimei. Zhang Yi brightens up upon hearing the name. Damn, Uncle Yu, you owe me big time. Zhou Haimei is a dream woman for many. Yang Mi promises Zhou Haimei a feast if she agrees to spend time with Uncle Yu. Zhou Haimei considers it. She's been hungry for days and would do anything for food. Without further ado, Zhang Yi produces food from another dimension and Zhou Haimei starts eating voraciously. Zhang Yi looks at both women. We're all smart people here. From now on, I'll take care of your food, but if anyone leaks information from here, forget food. You'll owe me your life. Saying this, he leaves to transfer useful items and people, including Zhou Kir and Uncle Yu, to his current location. Meanwhile, in another village called Su Family Town, young people are busy drilling through the ice layer underground. Sled dogs are running hard. Suddenly, with a loud noise, they break through the ice, and small fish jump out. The workers collect the fish, seeming quite proficient. A young man asks, Uncle, do you think people in the city have frozen to death in this cold? The uncle sighs. Those city folks don't even know how to farm. They usually rely on us for food. They're probably starving by now, if not already dead. Luckily, we rural people have some food reserves and stamina. We can survive, although the cold is daunting. Just then, a rumbling noise is heard in the distance. The uncle becomes alert. In this cold, you rarely see any living person. Is that the sound of a snowmobile? At that moment, Zhang Yi zooms by on a snowmobile. He's surprised to see people in Su Family Town fishing by breaking the ice. He also notices their sleds. Zhang Yi is amazed at how quickly people have adapted to this icy apocalypse. Had he not seen it, he would have thought Eskimos had moved to Su Family Town. The villagers spot Zhang Yi's snowmobile, a Rolls-Royce equivalent in the snowy environment. Without a word, they urge their sled dogs to chase, entering berserk mode. Zhang Yi suddenly panics and quickly throttles up, speeding away. Meanwhile, on the river, 8 dogs are chasing him down, tongues lolling out. Their eyes turn red upon seeing Zhang Yi. If Zhang Yi is caught by this group of people, he's definitely in for some trouble. Suddenly, a fisherman hurls a harpoon towards Zhang Yi, who instantly gets furious. Damn it, if that harpoon hits my arm, it would either cripple or kill me. Zhang Yi swerves sharply, and due to the inertia, Zhou Haimei is flung off. The fishermen catch up and confront Zhang Yi. Leave the woman and the snowmobile, then you can go. Zhang Yi coldly looks at them and swiftly pulls out a handgun, aiming it at them. The fishermen suddenly get nervous. Hey man, let's talk. No need for knives and guns. However, seeing the beautiful woman and the snowmobile, they are reluctant to let him go. This is Su Family Town territory. To pass through, you have to pay a toll. Leave the woman or the vehicle. It's your choice. Zhang Yi sneers. What if I don't want to choose either? The fisherman instantly turns serious. Even if you have a gun, it's useless. We have so many people and dogs. How many bullets do you have? Zhang Yi's eyes grow colder. He knows he has to end this quickly. If other fishermen from the village come, escaping would be difficult. Taking a deep breath, he mutters, you forced me into this. Zhang Yi then pulls out another weapon. You brought this upon yourselves. Don't blame me. He raises both guns and fires. Bang, bang, bang. Several people from Su Family Town fall down. Uncle Su is shocked. This guy is serious. He then commands, and the ferocious dogs swarm towards Zhang Yi. But Zhang Yi is already prepared. He opens his hand, waiting for the perfect moment. With a thought, he activates another dimension, and all 8 frenzied dogs are sucked in. Seizing this window of opportunity, Zhang Yi picks up Zhou Haimei from the ground, starts the snowmobile, and speeds off. Looking back at the villagers who are arriving one after another, Zhang Yi thinks, that was close. I almost got bitten by those mad dogs. Good thing I was smart enough to use the other dimension as a weapon. These dogs will suffocate and die in that space soon enough. This also gives me the chance to measure the time flow difference between the other dimension and the real world. On the other side, the arriving villagers see the dead bodies on the ground and are shocked. We've encountered a tough one. They look around and notice something else amiss. Where are the dogs? Our 8 snow dogs are missing. They find it extremely strange because the dogs had been tamed and wouldn't stray without orders. Not only are we down 4 lives, but 8 snow dogs have vanished as well. We're in big trouble. The leading uncle speaks. This person not only had a gun and a snowmobile, but also killed so many people from Su family town. He must be extraordinary. Maybe he even has superpowers like our village's Chun-Lei. Let's not act recklessly. Go back and consult with the village head. Returning to Su family town, the village head gathers a group and goes to Chun-Lei, who is found sleeping soundly, clutching a 2D anime doll. The village head becomes red-faced upon seeing a room full of 2D dolls and scolds Chun-Lei. You're a grown man, culling fake dolls? Aren't you ashamed? Our village girls are far more beautiful than these dolls. Chun-Lei stretches lazily. Grandpa, you're way off base. Are the village women even to be called young ladies? Besides, it's my hobby. Why do you care? Now, what do you want? Sudahai interjects. This morning, we encountered a young man while fishing. He killed 4 of us and took our snow dogs. The man was incredibly powerful. He might have superpowers like you. Our village may no longer be safe. Chun-Lei thinks. We've just ended fights with nearby villages. And now this? When will we have some peace? Meanwhile, Zhang Yi safely drops Zhou Haimei at the base of an apartment complex. Leading the way, Zhang Yi says, the man you will meet is in this building. Come upstairs with me. Zhou Haimei agrees, although reluctantly. In this apocalyptic world, having someone to team up with isn't a bad choice. While talking, Zhang Yi has already entered his safe house. At this moment, Zhou Qi is as happy as a child. Zhang Yi, you're finally back safely. Congratulations. She quickly helps Zhang Yi out of his coat. When Zhou Qi notices the woman behind Zhang Yi, she senses some kind of threat. She immediately starts fussing over Zhang Yi. Are you tired? Are you thirsty? Would you like something to eat? Zhang Yi temporarily ignores Zhou Qi and asks Zhou Haimei to sit down first. Zhou Qi, with a woman's intuition, feels that something is different about Zhang Yi. I now understand. You prefer mature women, don't you? Zhang Yi smiles faintly. Don't overthink it. This woman is here to take care of Uncle Yu, but you're right about me preferring mature women. Zhou Qi looks stunned. Zhang Yi is more concerned about Uncle Yu's condition. Zhou Qi quickly responds. Uncle Yu has mostly recovered. It's miraculous. Normally, it would take at least 3 months. I also gave him muscle relaxants as you instructed, but it doesn't seem to suppress his strength. Zhang Yi nods. Just as I suspected. Uncle Yu has an enhancing type of mutation. How is his mental state now? After pondering for a moment, Zhou Qi says, he seems fine. His mental state appears to be normal. No issues have been discovered. Hearing this, Zhang Yi strokes his chin. I've read online about people experiencing dangerous physical mutations after gaining superpowers. I'm glad Uncle Yu didn't go through that. Zhang Yi then visits Uncle Yu's room and sees that he's fine, which eases his concerns. He also tells Uncle Yu about capturing Wang Siming's shelter the day before. Upon hearing this, Uncle Yu remarks, rich people sure know how to have fun. Zhang Yi calmly responds, there are plenty of wealthy people both domestically and internationally, and many of them would have built shelters. In that sense, it's easier for the rich and powerful to survive in this post-apocalyptic world. Uncle Yu lowers his head. Zhang Yi, how can I ever thank you? I wouldn't be alive now if it wasn't for you. Zhang Yi's eyes flicker slightly. No need for formalities. By the way, Uncle Yu, have you noticed any changes in your body these past few days? Uncle Yu lifts his shirt. It's strange. With such severe gunshot wounds, it should take months to heal, but I've recovered in just a few days, and my strength has increased tremendously. Saying this, he lifts a sofa next to him with one hand. Zhang Yi looks at Uncle Yu with delighted astonishment. What incredible strength. Uncle Yu looks at himself puzzled, feeling like some kind of monster. Zhang Yi reassures him cheerfully. Don't worry too much. You've just awakened a powerful ability. It's like a tadpole successfully transforming into a frog. Uncle Yu stares at Zhang Yi, bewildered. Zhang Yi smiles. Don't be surprised. I've also awakened some abilities. Saying this, he takes out some food from another space. Uncle Yu is completely dumbfounded. No wonder you always seem to have endless resources. Uncle Yu became excited all of a sudden. With a strong push of his hand, he overturned the bed. He then heavily fell to the ground. Zhang Yi advises Uncle Yu to get used to his new body before making any moves. Seeing the condition Uncle Yu is in, Zhang Yi is overjoyed. The stronger Uncle Yu becomes, the safer I'll be. Meanwhile, Zhou Qi and the superstar, Zhou Haimei, are busy in the living room. Zhang Yi gets back to the point. Uncle Yu, I've found you a wife. Are you interested? Uncle Yu glances at Zhou Haimei in the living room and his eyes widen in disbelief. This is every man's dream goddess. Zhou Haimei, am I seeing things? Zhou Haimei approaches and greets Uncle Yu with a smile. Hello, Mr. Yu. Uncle Yu, elated, nods furiously. His dream goddess is actually speaking to him. Zhang Yi looks at both of them. Given the current exceptional circumstances, let's skip the pleasantries. You two should pair up and live together. I'll leave this house to both of you, while Zhou Qi and I will move out. Uncle Yu becomes becomes anxious. Zhang Yi, this won't do. I've received too much from you already. This house is your safety. I can't take it from you. Zhang Yi reassures Uncle Yu. Don't be formal with me, Uncle Yu. I've found a better place to stay. You can bring your wife over to visit anytime. After settling Uncle Yu, Zhang Yi and Zhou Qi head downstairs to go to their new home. Finally, a wedding gift for you. Saying this, he takes out a snowmobile from another space. Uncle Yu is astonished. This is your vital means of transportation. How can I take this from you? What will you do without the snowmobile? He absolutely refuses to accept it. Zhang Yi says, don't be formal, Uncle Yu. I can manage without the snowmobile. Saying this, he takes out an off-road snow vehicle from another space. Everyone is left speechless. Is this what Zhang Yi means by managing? Meanwhile, in Su family town, there's widespread anxiety. Everyone is waiting for the village's star of hope, Chunlei, to make a decision. Chunlei thinks he's the chosen one, destined for greatness. This must be a sign from the heavens to make me stronger. The village head expresses his concern. That guy is too strong. We can't beat him. Chunlei, you are our village's hope. The whole of Su family town is relying on you. Please don't disappoint us. Chunlei gets carried away. Don't worry, village head, Uncle 3, I've got this. At this moment, Zhang Yi and Zhou Qi are driving towards their new villa in the off-road vehicle. Zhou Qi curiously asks, what's the new house like? Knowing you, I can't imagine you would just give away a secure house that you put so much effort into, and you even found a beautiful wife for Uncle Yu. Zhang Yi smiles. Our new home is huge, many times more comfortable than where we live now. But be prepared, there is one more person in our new home now. Upon hearing this, Zhou Qi gets nervous. Is it another woman? Zhang Yi, have you changed your feelings for me? Zhang Yi pats her hand. Don't overthink it. I'm just worried you might be too busy, so I found someone to help share the load with you. Zhou Qi finally relaxes, snuggling close to Zhang Yi. I knew you loved me the most. Zhang Yi smiles at Zhou Qi. Well, what's done is done. It was consensual, so just be obedient and everything will be fine. Zhang Yi revs up the engine, driving forward through increasing snow and wind, even more intense than when the snowstorm first started. Suddenly, a whirlwind strikes the rear of the off-road vehicle. Zhang Yi quickly realizes something is wrong. This snow is too unnatural. Then a loud bang as a gust of wind hits the vehicle, causing it to veer off track. Gripping the wheel tightly, Zhang Yi floors the gas pedal. Hold on tight, he tells Zhou Qi. Extending his left hand, he opens a different space with a whoosh, sucking in the attacking snowstorm. Damn, it's a tornado. Heavenly Sea City hasn't seen a tornado in centuries. This is definitely an attack, not a natural disaster. Zhang Yi immediately calms down. His ability is ultimate defense. As long as he doesn't panic, the opponent won't be able to kill him. He begins to think, realizing that the attacker must be nearby. He skillfully turns the vehicle around and once again opens a different space, sucking in the attacking tornado. Meanwhile, Chunlei in the shadows realizes something is wrong. The tornado had hit the vehicle. Why did it suddenly stop? The tornado drains a lot of his energy, and he is not sure how strong the other party is. The more Chunlei thinks, the more he believes this guy is not easy to deal with. He might have superpowers too. Worst of all, he's already shown his trump card, but knows nothing about the other person. Two villagers by his side sense that something is off. Chunlei, what's going on? Why didn't your superpower work this time? Chunlei replies, damn, we've run into a tough one. We need to find another way. Let's retreat for now. At this moment, Zhang Yi in the vehicle is ready for action. He takes a sniper rifle with a high magnification scope out of the different space. You think you can attack me and run? Watch how I take you down. Lifting the sniper rifle, he aims and fires 2 shots. One of the villagers falls to the ground. Chunlei and the other villager are instantly dumbfounded. This guy has a sniper rifle, and he could hit from such a long distance. This defies all logic. Zhang Yi raises the sniper rifle again, and Chunlei hides behind a snow mound in fear. Zhang Yi smiles. Since you're hiding, let me return the gift you just gave me. With that, he raises his left hand and releases the absorbed tornado back out. Chunlei sees a tornado that looks exactly like his own superpower and is dumbstruck. Damn, this kid has the same superpower as mine. Just as he's about to be swept up by the tornado, Chunlei musters the last of his strength and releases his superpower again. The 2 tornadoes collide and cancel each other out. Chunlei takes this opportunity to escape. Zhang Yi watches the retreating figures and decides to let them go for now. I can't chase them into the villagers' territory, especially with Zhou Qi in the car. A small mistake could be disastrous. If you want revenge, come find me. But next time, it will be on my home turf. Zhang Yi doesn't linger. He continues driving towards Lark Manor. Meanwhile, he feels that he learned a lot from this battle. The future world is likely to be dominated by people with superpowers. Zhou Qi, concerned, asks if those who weren't killed would come back for revenge. Zhang Yi assures her, don't worry, our new refuge is very secure. Even if a superpower like a tornado were to bury it, it won't affect our lives. Elsewhere, Su Depan and others are helping the injured walk towards Su family town. Ever since my superpower awakened, I've been the one doing the beating. This is the first time someone's chased and attacked me. I almost lost my life. At that moment, Yang Mi, dressed in sexy lingerie, lingerie, is lying on the bed. She's not used to suddenly being kept like a canary and is wondering how to pass the time when the door clicks open. Zhang Yi walks in and says, "Get up, I want to introduce you to a friend." Yang Mi is startled. Is he planning to pass me on to someone else? Zhang Yi laughs at her reaction. In the order of who came first, you should call her sister. Yang Mi looks surprised again. So, is she your girlfriend? She nervously asks. Zhang Yi hands her some clothes. Close enough. Yang Mi starts to think, me, an international A-list star, sharing a man with another woman? I can't lose to a village girl. She applies beautiful makeup to herself. I may lose in other ways, but not in poise. Watch how I trample you underfoot. Meanwhile, Zhou Kir also meticulously prepares herself. A woman's charm is the best weapon. The competition has just begun. After a long time of meticulous preparation, Yang Mi finally arrives in the living room. However, the moment the two women lock eyes, both are shocked and dismayed. It's you. At this moment, Zhang Yi stands in the middle, puzzled. Do you two know each other? Zhou Kir angrily tells Zhang Yi, this person is my cousin, but the relationship between the two women appears strained. Yang Mi pulls Zhang Yi aside and whispers, Zhang Yi, please, whatever you do, don't let Zhou Kir know about us. Zhang Yi scratches his chin and smiles. Us? What about us? Yang Mi is instantly infuriated. The transaction between us. Zhang Yi finds himself in an increasingly interesting situation as he looks at a furious Zhou Kir and a cautious Yang Mi. As it turns out, both the Zhou and Yang families are renowned for their scholarly traditions, boasting numerous talented individuals. Yang Mi chose the entertainment industry to become famous, willing to be an actress. Zhou Kir looks at Yang Mi disdainfully. If you were truly talented, you would rise through your own works. No one in the family would have such strong reservations. Don't you know why you're famous? People in the upper circles mock our family because everyone knows you're like a public bus. The shame it brings is nauseating just to hear, let alone see you. Zhang Yi finds Yang Mi's expression behind him somewhat amusing. He waves his hand dismissively. I don't care about your past grievances. There are no more distinguished families or top celebrities here. You are now simply neighbors in adversity. The two women reluctantly shake hands, agreeing to live and let live. Then Zhang Yi takes them to the underground garden, filled with lush vegetables and plants. He tells them, your daily tasks, besides household chores, are to take good care of these plants to secure our logistics. Both nod happily, glad to have something to do to avoid idleness and potential conflict under the same roof. Afterwards, Zhang Yi sends Zhou Kir upstairs to tidy up the bedroom, leaving a grateful Yang Mi behind. She says, thank you for keeping our secret just now. I already owe my cousin so much. If she finds out that I'm competing with her for a boyfriend, she'll be heartbroken. So could we keep our relationship a secret from her going forward? Zhang Yi has other plans in mind. With only 3 people in such a large shelter, staying hidden would be no easy feat. Zhang Yi quickly agrees to Yang Mi's request. To show her gratitude for keeping their secret, Yang Mi offers to cook for Zhang Yi. He's somewhat taken aback. A big star knows how to cook? Yang Mi heads to the kitchen. Don't assume all celebrities are useless. Actually, I find cooking relaxing when I'm bored. However, to her dismay, she finds the kitchen devoid of ingredients. It's the proverbial case of no rice to cook even for a clever woman. Yang Mi searches fruitlessly, finding nothing. Watching Yang Mi pace back and forth, Zhang Yi can't help but admire her figure. He walks up behind her and exhales lightly. Yang Mi stands up nervously and dodges back, glancing worriedly upstairs. Her face turns red as she asks, what are you doing? Didn't we agree not to act like this? What if our relationship gets discovered? Zhang Yi smiles. I can't help it. You're too captivating. He then produces a heap of ingredients from another space and places them on the table. Yang Mi's eyes widen in amazement. Oh my god, how do you have so much stuff? I can't believe my eyes. Food is so abundant even in this apocalyptic winter. It feels a bit too luxurious. Zhang Yi playfully pats Yang Mi's hips. No worries, we'll eat like this from now on. After some cooking, Yang Mi calls Zhang Yi and Zhou Kir to eat. Zhang Yi looks at the spread before him with great satisfaction, while Yang Mi and Zhou Kir each have their own thoughts. Zhou Kir tastes the base and immediately frowns in disdain. Too much salt. How can anyone eat this? Yang Mi eats her rice, her head down, feeling somewhat guilty. After all, under such circumstances, it's not easy to get the seasoning right. Zhang Yi watches all this unfold, smiling internally. He's purposely fueling a rivalry between the two women to ultimately benefit himself. He quickly picks up a dish with his chopsticks and feeds it to Zhou Kir. Kir, this one is less salty. Feeling pleased, Zhou Kir eats it and immediately starts to act lovey-dovey. Food always tastes better when Brother E feeds it to me. Yang Mi, sitting off to the side, watches the pair's performance with a heavy heart. That night, Zhou Kir nervously asks Zhang Yi, who's better, Yang Mi or me? She saw what happened in the kitchen earlier that day. Using his player-like acting skills, Zhang Yi reassures her, don't think too much, baby. You're the one I love the most. Upon hearing this, the innocent Zhou Kir immediately hugs Zhang Yi tightly. I knew it. Brother E loves Zhou Kir the most. Zhang Yi thinks to himself, you really are naive. Although he appears passionately devoted to Zhou Kir, he's never truly been in love with her. Being with her simply satisfies his basic needs as a man. Love, to him, is just a disease that makes people lose their reason. For the past few days, Zhang Yi has been leisurely practicing practicing shooting at Lark Manor. Suddenly, his phone rings. As he's about to answer, he realizes it's not a voice call, but a regular phone dialing. Considering all electrical grids have been down since the apocalypse, and virtually everyone he knew is gone, he's curious about this unknown number. Even if you're a god, I can't be bothered, he mutters, promptly hanging up and blocking the number. Oddly enough, within 2 minutes, the same number calls again. This time, Zhang is unnerved. What's going on? I blocked this number. How could it call again? Thinking maybe he didn't block it properly, he blocks it again. Right on cue, the phone rings once more. This time, Zhang is genuinely panicked. What the hell is happening? Is this some sort of haunting? Just as he's freaking out, the call answers itself. The voice on the other end starts questioning Zhang Yi. Why aren't you answering my calls? Although Zhang Yi is panicking internally, he tells himself to stay calm. This person on the other end of the phone is no small fry compared to the riffraff he's encountered before. The voice on the other end begins to recite detailed personal information about Zhang Yi, from his birth date and family address to his current residence at Lark Manor and even his previous workplace. At this point, Zhang Yi can't hold it in any longer. Who are you, and how do you know so much about me? The man on the other end, Fat Bro, chuckles. Don't worry, just give me the supplies you have, and I won't expose your information. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi bursts into laughter. Did you take the wrong medication? You think you can blackmail me for supplies based on this information? Go ahead and expose it. I couldn't care less. Fat Bro continues. What if people find out you have the supplies that went missing from the South City warehouse? What then? Gritting his teeth, Zhang Yi starts to play dumb. So you say I have them and that makes it true? Who would believe you? Besides, I'm just a small-time supervisor. How could I possibly be connected to the theft at the South City warehouse? Fat Bro calmly replies. Don't try to play games with me. I might as well tell you. I'm Lu Fengda from Intelligent Cloud Group. Hearing this name, Zhang Yi freezes. Lu Fengda is a top dog in the domestic information field. The fact that he's caught the attention of someone like Lu Fengda makes it crystal clear that hacking his phone would be child's play for him. Suddenly, a thought strikes Zhang Yi. If this guy can hack into his phone so easily, what about the computer systems at home? Has he hacked into them as well? But then he reassures himself that the probability is low. Like him, Lu Fengda is also trapped in Lark Manor, which would limit him to basic operations like hacking a phone. If he had indeed compromised the computer systems at home, he wouldn't need to call and threaten Zhang Yi over the phone. Thinking quickly, Zhang Yi decides to play it cool with Lu Fengda. Lu Fengda then boldly states, since you can support 2 women, you should have no problem supporting me as well. As long as you provide me with the supplies I need to live, I will keep your secret safe. Additionally, I can help you maintain your cybersecurity to protect against other hackers. Smiling, Zhang Yi responds, Mr. Lu, you must be joking. I did work as a warehouse supervisor for a while, but a minor supervisor like me doesn't have much authority. Lu Fengda immediately fires back. Zhang Yi, don't try to outsmart me. I've been around long enough and seen enough to know that you must have those stolen supplies from the warehouse. I can gather a lot of information about you through your phone. Fuming internally, Zhang Yi thinks, this damn old man, I must find a way to take him down. Realizing he can't hide the truth anymore, he admits, I do have some supplies, but not many. As you know, my living space is limited. I've already packed and sold the excess supplies. Lu Fengda doesn't care about the amount, he just wants his needs met. If Zhang Yi doesn't agree, he threatens to leak the information and have people with special abilities target him, the consequences of which are obvious. Rubbing his forehead, Zhang Yi realizes he's up against a tough adversary this time. Regardless, he's made up his mind to deal with Lu Fengda once and for all. Verbally agreeing, he says, I can provide you with some supplies, but you have to keep the secret. Upon hearing this, Lu Fengda happily replies, don't worry, I'm not foolish. Only you and I need to know about this. Right now, I need things like food, liquor, cotton socks, and underwear. Have them sent to Villa 302 in Lark Manor. And don't try any tricks. If I'm not pleased, I'll leak the information and you'll be in big trouble. After hanging up, Zhang Yi already has a plan in mind. This Lu Fengda must die. He walks into the living room where Zhou Qir is sitting on the couch. Taking a big gulp of water, he says, Zhou Qir, I have something to discuss with you. As Zhou Qir leans in, Zhang Yi explains that their location has been discovered. He briefly fills her in on Lu Fengda's actions, mentioning how Lu Fengda knows that he has a large amount of supplies and is therefore trying to blackmail him. After hearing everything, Zhou Qir also feels that the situation is complicated. She thinks for a moment and says, I have indeed come across such people. They may not be as cunning as one might think, but they're certainly highly intelligent. Their moral standards, however, are quite low. Otherwise, they couldn't be real businessmen. Zhang Yi is a bit at a loss for what to do. He really wants to kill this guy. However, he was worried that this bastard might have a backup plan, making him hesitant to act. The idea of being continuously blackmailed if he let him live was something Zhang Yi couldn't bear. Zhou Qir nods. If this information leaks, it will definitely pose a threat to you. This makes things tricky. She recalls cases she has heard of where corrupt officials had internet moguls killed to eliminate evidence, only for the evidence to be released online the next day. Zhang Yi has heard similar stories. These desperados always have a contingency plan. They set up a trigger to automatically leak insider information if something happens to them. them. That's why their opponents hesitate to make a move. Shokir, concerned, throws herself onto Zhang Yi, saying, "Oh well, if we can't think of a good solution right now, let's not think about it. Let me help you relax." But Zhang Yi is in no mood to think about anything else. As long as this issue is unresolved, he will be uneasy. The longer the issue drags on, the more disadvantageous it becomes for them. Just then, Yang Mi walks in. Zhang Yi thinks it's the perfect time for everyone to sit down and discuss a strategy. After listening to the whole story, Yang Mi frowns. This is indeed a headache. This is what we call creating rumors is easy, but debunking them is hard. We in the entertainment industry utterly despise such behavior. Suddenly, Zhang Yi becomes excited. "You just mentioned rumors, right?" Yang Mi looks puzzled. "Yes, isn't spreading information about you similar to the unethical media spreading rumors about celebrities?" Sitting aside, Zhou Kir dismissively says, "At times like this, even if it's a rumor, people will most likely choose to believe Lu Fengda." Zhang Yi, supporting his chin with both hands, thinks quickly. "Although Lu Fengda holds information on me, it's not conclusive evidence. But if this information gets out, it will certainly cause me a lot of trouble. Since I can't stop him from releasing the information, why not muddy the waters? Let's treat this situation as if it's a rumor." Zhou Kir and Yang Mi look curiously at Zhang Yi and ask in unison, "What are you planning to do?" Zhang Yi gives a mysterious smile and turns to make preparations. He heads to the control room and calls Lu Fengda. "Is your stuff ready?" Zhang Yi asks impatiently. "What's the rush? Do you really think I have a lot of supplies? If you didn't have something on me, I'd really want to kill you." On the other end of the phone, Lu Fengda bursts into laughter. "You want to kill me? You're too green for that. If something happens to me, your secret will automatically be sent to every person's phone in Heavenly Sea City. You better weigh the consequences." At this moment, Zhang Yi's brain works at top speed, and he comes up with an idea. "Fine, you win. Wait there, I'll bring the stuff over." He hangs up the phone, a faint smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. He turns on his computer and posts multiple threads on the few remaining forums in Heavenly Sea City. The mystery of the Walmart warehouse theft. Did Walmart steal from itself? Was the stock moved back to the country? Where did Walmart's billions of dollars of supplies go? According to eyewitnesses, armed forces appeared that night. Highly confidential escort. Police are mum on the issue, and various other sensational news. The best way to bury the truth is to bury it among lies. The end result is that nobody can tell what's real and what's not. In this way, even if Lu Fengda tells the actual truth, naturally, no one will believe him. Up to this point, Zhang Yi has employed every means he could think of. Whether it will be successful or not now depends on luck. But one thing is clear, Lu Fengda must die. Following Lu Fengda's instructions, Zhang Yi places the prepared supplies at Lu Fengda's residence. After completing these tasks, he slowly leaves the villa and takes cover behind a pine tree. He aims his sniper rifle at the backpack left at the front door. As soon as Lu Fengda comes out to take the backpack, he plans to shoot him dead. Having set everything up, he sends a text message to Lu Fengda. "The stuff is at your door." Then he intently watches the entrance, silently waiting in the shadows for Lu Fengda to appear. However, time passes and there is no movement at Lu Fengda's front door. Zhang Yi senses that something is off. Did the old man not get his message? He reaches for his phone, intending to make a call, but then he hesitates. If he calls or texts again now, it would suggest that he knows Lu Fengda hasn't picked up the package. Doing so would surely make Lu Fengda suspicious that he is nearby. Zhang Yi takes a slow breath. "I'll wait a little longer. This old fox wanted supplies from me despite the risks. He will come out." Zhang Yi maintains his position, never taking his eye off the bag, silently waiting for the fish to take the bait. Time ticks away. About 15 minutes later, the door to Villa 302 is slowly pushed open. The barrel of a shotgun appears first, scanning the area for threats. Only then does a small old man cautiously step out. At that moment, Lu Fengda is jubilant, thinking he has finally gotten some supplies and that his elaborate planning hasn't been in vain. Just as he's about to pick up the backpack, there's a loud gunshot. Lu Fengda's head is pierced by a bullet, creating a large hole. He crashes against the door and falls to the ground, dead. Seeing his shot hit the mark, Zhang Yi quickly rushes over to Villa 302. Upon reaching Lu Fengda, he takes aim at his forehead and fires several more rounds. "You old bastard, thinking you can play me? Looks like you've grown tired of living." After that, Zhang Yi locates Lu Fengda's computer. Just as he's about to smash it with his gun, he hesitates. The old man's computer must contain a wealth of valuable information. With a sudden idea, he decides to store the computer in an alternate dimension, effectively preventing any information from being sent out. Sighing deeply, Zhang Yi thinks, "Well, this is the best I can do. The man's dead, the stuff is taken. If he had family, I'd send them to join him in the afterlife. All this nonsense over with. I'd rather go home and spend time with my two ladies and continue to be an internet troll, creating false narratives online." Even if information leaks out, Zhang Yi is prepared to brazenly lie and frame others. His goal is to clear his own name by any means necessary. Stretching, he leaves the control room. Shokir asks with concern, "Zhang Yi, what have you been busy with? I've made you a soup with oxtail and kidney. Come have some." Once seated, both women surround him. "Are you tired? Let me give you a back massage," they offer. Zhang Yi feels truly content having two women at home, and he hopes this happy life will continue indefinitely. Definitely. Casually, Zhang Yi asks, did either of you receive any messages on your phones? Shokir looks puzzled. A bunch of jumbled messages. I don't know what they mean. Yang Mi also finds the messages to be somewhat confusing and perhaps intentionally misleading. Taking a sip of his fish soup, Zhang Yi says, they are meant to be misleading. I released those as smoke screens. Starting now, hundreds of similar messages will be sent out to every forum in Heavenly Sea City and to everyone's phones. Since he couldn't stop Lu Fengda from sending out the real information, his alternative is to cover up the truth with lies. Shokir looks doubtful, but wouldn't this raise more suspicion? Yang Mi also thinks that suddenly blowing up this topic would easily draw people's attention. Eating a fishball, Zhang Yi looks calm as he speaks. Drawing attention is inevitable. Whether or not I send these messages, Lu Fengda certainly would have. So, by sending out these smoke screens, I can at least muddle the waters. Most people don't have the time or interest to discern truth from fiction. They just want to spectate. Yang Mi's eyes light up. She looks at Zhang Yi and says, you're really clever. She gazes at him with admiration, thinking that her judgment was spot on. Zhang Yi is not just handsome but also intelligent. At that moment, Shokir looks at her phone and questions, but these messages were sent from your computer. What if someone tracks the IP address? Won't they find out it's you? She's right. Zhang Yi may have used multiple accounts to send the messages, but his IP address is unique. Certain organizations could easily trace it back to him, making him the prime suspect. Without betraying any emotion, Zhang Yi continues to sip his soup. Shokir senses the shift in atmosphere and hastily apologizes, thinking she might be overly concerned. She speculates that not many people left in Heavenly Sea City would have the expertise to counter-investigate. Your approach is still very effective, she quickly adds. Picking up some food with his chopsticks, Zhang Yi says cryptically, unless this snow disaster plunges the world back into the Stone Age, covering my tracks entirely is nearly impossible. I never harbored illusions about fooling everyone completely, but by doing this, I can at least prevent most people from suspecting me directly. Encountering organizations with strong cyber capabilities is inevitable in the future, and I've been prepared for that. If it weren't for Lu Fengda's appearance, this day would have come much later. However, this shelter cost a whopping $1 billion and is reputedly nuclear strike resistant. Given that Zhang Yi had an endless supply of food, he would only truly worry if confronted by top-tier armed forces. I smiled and glanced at Yang Mi. Don't be too complacent. Even though I'm confident about the shelter's defenses, you won't be idle in the coming days. Upon hearing this, Yang Mi's face turned a shade of red. Her shy eyes seemed to suggest, there are others present. It's not appropriate to do such things in front of them. I was utterly speechless, wondering what she was constantly thinking about. But Yang Mi appeared innocent, given that she had been here for quite some time and hadn't really been much of a help in other aspects. I gave her a playful smack on the head and said, I'm talking about setting traps. Holding her head with a look of innocence, Yang Mi replied, we don't know how to set traps. I stood up and spread my hands. While this house boasts top-notch defenses, it seems to lack countermeasures against human threats. We are seriously lacking in defensive weapons inside the shelter. So, I plan to lay a tight network of traps around the shelter. If anyone dares to target me, they'll find it a one-way trip. Upon hearing this, both women seemed instantly invigorated. Ever since Yang Mi's arrival, Shokir had also gradually become more security conscious. They both eagerly nodded, competing to assure, whatever it takes to keep you safe, we will do it. Yang Mi added, I might not understand traps, but I'll do my best. Nodding, I stood and took out a large pile of hardware from another dimension. Most of it consisted of items like steel nails and animal traps. I picked up a steel nail and began to instruct them on its usage, reminding them to remember the trap's layout. Shokir and Yang Mi realized the looming danger and were particularly attentive during the lessons. Just scattering nails on snow won't pierce anyone, I explained, taking out a wooden board and nailing a spike onto it. This way, it'll puncture the foot, but steel nails are too smooth. They can be easily pulled out. I then produced a box of screws. If combined with these screw threads, they'll be much harder to remove, inflicting more damage. We need at least 1,000 of these spike traps around the villa, leaving no blind spots. I then picked up an animal trap. This is a great tool. In this weather, if someone gets caught in this, they're basically done for. I meticulously explained to them the techniques for trap placement and how to maximize the trap's damage potential. Following my instructions, the two women immediately got to work, creating a large number of spike board traps with gusto. I wasn't idle either. Standing by the window, I familiarized myself with the terrain surrounding us. There were 2 essential routes leading to our villa. At this moment, I remembered the 2 landmines I had retrieved from the weapons storage, which could be placed perfectly at those 2 access points. Such detonation landmines could instantly obliterate tanks and armored vehicles. If a person were to trigger them, they'd be reduced to mere fragments. I mentally noted that I would have to be careful and avoid these mines when stepping out in the future. However, these spike board traps are only effective once and can easily be figured out by an adversary. I needed a way to ensure that anyone who approaches doesn't leave unscathed. In no time, a large number of spike boards were ready. Yang Mi's hands had blisters from the effort, yet she didn't complain. She understood that her skills couldn't compare to Shokir, a doctor, and wanted wanted to prove her worth. I appreciated her efforts. We then moved outdoors, and I personally demonstrated how to set up the traps, emphasizing the importance of placement depth. With the ongoing snowfall, the traps couldn't be buried too deep or too shallow. I then proceeded to the vital pathways, dug a deep pit with a military shovel, and carefully placed a landmine inside, covering it with accumulated snow. With a little more snowfall, traces of the trap would be virtually invisible. The next step was to counter any devices or tools the enemy might use to clear out the traps. I had a brilliant idea, connecting the pins of hand grenades with steel wires and placing them beneath the snow. If anyone tripped over it, the steel wire would trigger a chain explosion. This should serve as a significant deterrent. Unless the enemy is a well-trained military unit, approaching the shelter would be a daunting task. Even if someone managed to get past the exterior traps, there's still a defense corridor of over 10 meters inside the shelter, boosting my confidence. Additionally, I had an ace up my sleeve, my spatial ability. After returning indoors, Yang seemed eager and excitedly asked, "Zhang, when will the enemies come?" I looked at her, dumbfounded. I'd prefer if these traps were just for show, but from your enthusiasm, it seems like you're actually hoping for someone to attack us. But I don't think they'll come anytime soon. After all, it's been so long since the apocalypse started. If anyone can stay in their own territory and survive, that's already an achievement. Unless it's absolutely necessary, no one would attack others. After all, anyone who's managed to survive until now isn't simple. Yang Mi rested her chin in her hand, seeming conflicted. She wasn't sure if she hoped for someone to fall into her traps or if she wanted the safety of their current environment to continue. Lost in thought, she was suddenly jolted out of her reverie by a shrill noise. Turning, she saw Zhang Yi using a welder to install bolts on a door in the corridor. Curious, she approached him. "What are you doing? Aren't these thick metal doors secure enough?" The recent incident with Lu Fengda had made Zhang Yi more cautious. As he worked, he explained, "All the facilities in this villa are controlled by computers. If someone hacks our system, they can easily open these doors. So, to be completely safe, I'm adding these bolts." Finishing his work, Zhang Yi stated seriously, "Even if someone breaches the corridor, they won't get through these doors quickly. It's always better to be safe than sorry." Yang Mi looked at the meticulous Zhang Yi with admiration. Even if his methods seemed a bit over the top, she believed that he would undoubtedly outlive most. Zhang Yi, now reassured by their fortified setup, had only one lingering concern: cybersecurity. He muttered, "If only we had a cyber expert with us, we'd be entirely secure." Upon hearing this, a sorrowful expression crossed Yang Mi's face. Yang Xinshin was pretty skilled in that area. "It's a shame." Before Yang Mi could finish, Zhou Kira interrupted, "You know Yang Xinshin? Is she still alive?" Yang Xinshin had always been frail, her legs paralyzed due to childhood polio. However, her mind was brilliant, especially when it came to computers. By 16, she had swept international computer awards and was considered a top hacker. As Zhang Yi listened to Zhou Kira's account, he couldn't help but feel wistful. If they could find Yang Xinshin, everything would fall into place. Yang Mi shook her head. "I lost contact with Yang Xinshin a long time ago, especially after the snow disaster. I fear the worst." Teasingly, Zhang Yi remarked, "Maybe she just didn't want to deal with you. After all, apart from being pretty, you don't offer much. In the eyes of geniuses like her, who would seek your help in a crisis?" Yang Mi, bewildered, playfully punched Zhang Yi in the chest, exclaiming, "Zhang Yi, you're terrible." Zhang Yi felt a tinge of regret. If this Yang Xinshin were still alive and could join their group, or more precisely, his harem group, it would be an excellent choice. Given the good looks of the two sisters, the younger sibling would likely be just as beautiful. Now, all that was left to do was wait.